Yesterday, we learned about David's attempt to repay the thanks to his buddy Yonatan by helping out his children and the difficulties with that. And today, he wants to perform another act of kindness. That's where chapter 10 begins. So after that, the king of Ammon passed away, and his son Hanun took his place, as generally happens with kings. And David said, let me act kindly with Hanun the same way his father acted kindly with me. So David sends out messengers, emissaries, to go and to offer consolation, comforting the mourners. He sends out his messengers. Now, it's not clear here at all as to what the kindness was that Nachash did for David. And there are a couple of different theories. One is the Midrashic theory we talked about a couple of chapters ago. David destroyed, absolutely decimated people from the tribe of Moab. And the question was why? And it seems strange because David is a descendant, in a sense, of Moab. His great-grandmother, Ruth, was a Moabite. In fact, one of the places that David ran to when he was running away from Saul was to the Moabites, and they gave him and his family protection. So there's a theory there that the Moabites killed his family, and only one of the members of the family survived, and that member ran to Ammon and was protected by the Ammonites. So that's one theory that's offered as to how Nachash helped him. Another theory, and again, these are theories, it's not clear. Another theory is, if we remember, we have a story about Nachash HaAmmoni in Shmuel Aleph. It's the great moment of Saul. Nachash HaAmmoni goes and threatens the people of Yavesh Gilad, says, if you don't surrender to me, I'm going to cut out your right eye. They send messengers, envoys to Saul. Saul rallies the Bnei Yisrael, all 12 tribes. They go, they destroy the Ammonites. The Ammonites are gone. Nachash is still the king. They're still Ammonites, but their threat is no longer there. And Shaul is in charge, and his kingdom is no longer threatened by the Ammonites. Or those who say that David maybe in some way asked Nachash, who was an enemy of Shaul, to help him when Shaul was sent, when Shaul was trying to kill Nachash. But either way, those are two theories. We do not know what exactly the kindness was that was shown and why David feels the need to repay it. Continuing in verse 3, so the emissaries come, but what happens is the officers of Ammon, the princes, his advisors say, you think David wants to honor your father? He's sending out people to spy the land. That's what he's doing to you. So it's interesting, right? That's what Yoav said about when Avner came. When Avner said, David, I'm going to bring all of the rest of Bnei Israel to you. Ishbosheth, he's a nothing. And Yoav says, no. He came here. He's trickery. He's sly. He wants to see our fortification so he could kill us. And that's the same thing that these messengers or these officers say to the king. And thus in verse 4, so what did Hanan do? He went and he shaved half of the beards of the servants, and he cut half of their beards all the way up to their rear ends, and he sent them away, embarrassing them. Shaving somebody's beard is an embarrassing thing to do. Shaving half the beard even looks worse. Cutting off, sending them back with their clothing cut off, half cut off all the way up to their waists is embarrassing. This is, of course, not the first time we talk about the cutting of the cloaks many times. And so maybe this is also representative of that idea. You think you're going to be in control of us, we're going to cut you in half, right? All the different times in the past, the cutting of the garments and the significance of the garments is the sign of leadership. But this is seen as a embarrassment, and it's very sad because here Hanun could have had a wonderful relationship with David and with Bnei Israel, but what he does, these messengers who were sent, it seems for very good intentions, they were suspected, and thus they were killed. Vayagidu, in verse 8, Vayagidu David vayishlach lekratam ki ayu hanashim nichlamim ma'od vayomer hamelech shvu v'reicho ad yitzamach zeklechem v'shavtem. And so David heard about this. He was very embarrassed, and thus David himself came out to greet these men, and he told them to stay in Jericho. Jericho, the first city Bnei Israel conquered when they came into the land of Israel. And there's one thing we know about Jericho: it is not allowed to be rebuilt. So by saying to be in Jericho is either to be in Jericho or meaning don't be where there are other people. Stay there for a week, for a month, until your beard grows back, until you don't have to look like you were embarrassed. So David here, it's a very nice sign. He shows kindness. He feels badly about what's happened to these emissaries. And the Ammonites saw that David was very angry at them. So what did the Ammonites? They're scared. So they go and they hire more soldiers from Aram, all sorts of different 20,000 foot soldiers, 1,000 men, and from Ishtov another 12,000. So they've got a very big army. So David hears about it, and he sends out Yoav and all of the strong soldiers. David, when he starts this whole chapter, he doesn't want to have a problem with the Ammonites, but clearly he has one. But what's interesting here, at least at this point, is he doesn't go out to war. He caused the war. He wasn't trying to cause a war. He was trying just to send out his people. But he has caused a war, and it's interesting, or it's sad, or it's wrong for him not to then go out to battle with them. And so all the Ammonites come on prepared for battle, and they have again with them this huge Aramean army. And Yoav looked out in the battlefield and saw to the right, to the left, to the north, to the south, all over were men who were set up to kill him and his men. Aram, and he gathered the best of the Israelites and went out to fight against Aram. And the other half of the army, maybe the larger part, he put under the direction of his brother Avishai, and they were going to go face the Ammonites. So we're going to go against the Arameans. Maybe Aram fought in a certain way, so I'm going to take these soldiers. Maybe Ammon fought in a different way. We're going to take those soldiers. But he splits up the camp. Why are we splitting up the camp? If you guys are not doing well, I'm going to come rescue you with my men, with the men. And if we're not doing well, you have to come and help us. Chazak v'nit chazek be'ad amenu v'ad arei Eloheinu. And here Yoav offers. Yoav is a person, we'll see, a man of violence. We've seen him killed before. He's somebody who's about the spilling of blood. But here we see that what he does is he has faith in God. Let's be strong. Let's strengthen ourselves for our nation and for the cities of our God, and God will do that which is right in his eye. And Yoav and the soldiers, they go to war, and the Arameans fled before them. So presumably, his prayer was to God, is asking for, in a sense, for intervention, that God's really in charge. Seems to work. So the Ammonites saw that the Aramites were defeated, and they ran home into their cities. And Yoav goes home to, at least for a time, goes home to Jerusalem. And so the Arameans saw when they were defeated, they gathered together again. And the Hadadezer sends, and so they send out. They send out for more soldiers, and they come to a place called Chelam, and Shovach is the captain. He's the captain of Hadadezer. Vayugad leDavid, and now David hears after the initial defeat of the Arameans that the Arameans are back, that they have more soldiers again, and David is told this. And here David goes into the battle by Asof, Kol Yisrael, by Avor Te'ardein, by Avo Chalema. And so David leads his soldiers, and the Arameans come out, and there is a war. And again, verse 18, a complete destruction of the Aramean army. David is victorious completely. And so when now all the Aramites, all their different groups saw that not just once, but twice Bnei Israel defeated them, first by Yoav, and the second time led by their king David, they said, we are not going anymore to be involved in a battle with the Bnei Yisrael. We are going to serve them. We are not going to battle with them, and they're no longer going to help Aram. So here we have a first battle that happens between David and the Ammonites. Again, David wants to do something kind, but we see now, maybe in the second chapter, that when David wanted to do something kind, kindness is not what endured. It didn't happen. He wanted to show great kindness to Mephibosheth. Did he? In certain ways he did, but in other ways he didn't, because Mephibosheth was already, it was too late, and he was already being taken advantage of by Tziva. And here too, he wants to act kindly with the people of Aram, with the people of Ammon, but he doesn't. They wage war, but ultimately in this chapter, David is victorious against these people.